How's it going, everybody? Daner here with North Central Coins, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the most rare and valuable coins in Canada. Today we're counting down the 15 most valuable common Canadian coins that you have a good chance of finding in your pocket change, and if identified correctly, can make you some serious money. Every single one of the coins that we're going to be discussing today, although rare, are not impossible to find, and in this video, we will explore each of these valuable pieces of currency and delve into why they hold such incredible value in Canadian numismatics. Additionally, we will discuss any distinguishing and identifying features, their significance among collectors, and also the potential value if you were ever to discover a legitimate example. Before I do get into this, I would really appreciate if you guys would smash that thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and also ring that bell notification so you can follow along with my new videos as they are being released. And then what do you say we get right into it and break down my picks for the 15 most valuable common Canadian coins that you can find. Let's get it, guys. In the year 1968, Canada underwent a significant change in the composition of its 10-cent coins, commonly known as dimes. The Minister of Finance at the time reported that due to a critical shortage of coins in Canada, he had authorized the minting of 75 million 10-cent coins in the United States. This decision was made because the Canadian Mint was fully stretched in addressing the shortage of quarters and was unable to meet the additional production requirements for 10-cent pieces. The difficult task of switching the composition from Canadian coinage from silver to nickel likely prompted the government to seek external assistance, and the United States Mint was contracted to produce a substantial quantity of 10-cent coins. This move was only a temporary measure to alleviate the pressing need for circulating currency in Canada. One significant aspect of the 1968 Canadian dimes is the change in composition. Before 1968, Canadian dimes, along with some other denominations including quarters and half dollars, were primarily made of silver. However, as a cost-saving measure and due to the rising price of silver, the composition of Canadian dimes was switched from silver to nickel in the year 1968. This change also had a noticeable impact on the appearance and metal content of the coins. The switch to nickel composition for Canadian dimes in 1968 marked a broader trend in many countries moving away from silver coins due to economic considerations. The new composition provided a more cost-effective alternative while still maintaining the functionality of the coins in daily transactions. The decision to authorize the minting of these Canadian dimes in the United States and the shift in composition from silver to nickel in 1968 were driven by practical considerations and economic factors reflecting the changing landscape of currency production during that time. Now let's discuss how to identify and differentiate between the Ottawa and Philadelphia 1968 Canadian dimes. The reading on the side of a coin, which consists of raised vertical edges, is a distinct feature that can be used to identify and differentiate between coins minted in different facilities. In the case of the 1968 Canadian dimes, those struck at the Philadelphia Mint and Ottawa Mint can be distinguished by examining the characteristics of the reading. The dimes minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the reading will typically exhibit shorter notches that are spread farther apart. This means that the vertical ridges on the edge of the coin are shorter in length and the spaces between them are wider when compared to dimes struck at the Canadian Mint. Dimes struck at the Ottawa Mint feature larger notches in the reading, and these notches are spread closer together. This results in longer and more closely spaced vertical ridges on the edge of the coin. The specific arrangement and length of the reading serve as a distinctive hallmark for coins produced at the Royal Canadian Mint. By examining the reading pattern, numismatists and collectors can identify the mint of origin for a given 1968 Canadian dime, distinguishing between those struck at the Philadelphia Mint and those minted in Ottawa. This level of detail adds an additional layer of nuance for individuals interested in the history and characteristics of coins from different mint facilities. An official statement was released by the Privy Council Office on August 21, 1968. The Minister of Finance reported that he had authorized the minting of 75 million 10-cent coins in the United States. This was necessary to alleviate a critical shortage of coins in Canada. The Canadian Mint was fully extended in making up the shortage of quarters and could not meet the additional production requirements to provide an adequate quantity of 10-cent pieces. The cabinet noted the report of the Minister of Finance to the effect that he had authorized the minting of 75 million 10-cent pieces in the United States, and that is a quote from O.G. Stoner, Deputy Secretary to the Cabinet. O.G. Stoner, that is an interesting name. There are three separate mintage figures for the Canadian 1968 dimes. There's the Philadelphia, the Ottawa, and the silver, which was only struck in the Ottawa facility. So first, there's 85,170,000 of the Philadelphia. There's 87,412,930 struck in Ottawa, and 70,460,000 of the silver 1968 Canadian dimes. Some of the details and specifications for the 1968 Philadelphia: it is composed of 100% nickel. It has a weight of 2.07 grams, a diameter of 18.03 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.16 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Arnold Machen for the obverse and Emmanuel Hahn for the reverse. The edge is reeded, it is magnetic, and it has a die-axis in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian, British, and Australian coins. Now, in terms of value, the 1968 Philadelphia Mint, if you can identify it, is actually a pretty interesting case because it is not as valuable on the low end as the Ottawa 1968 Canadian 10-cent coin. The silver, of course, you will get melt value for, so it is probably the most valuable if you do happen to find one and it is beat up, worn, and been put through the meat grinder. But if you want to get the maximum amount of money for a Canadian 1968 dime, you want to identify the Philadelphia Mint and hope for a high mint state example. Now, if you can identify the Philadelphia Mint 1968, which will have shorter notches that are spread farther apart on the reading, it can be worth all the way up to $425 for an MS66 example. I have actually found Canadian 1968 dimes composed of nickel that are in a high mint state, maybe not MS67, but definitely pushing MS63 to MS65, so I don't doubt if you kept your eyes open that you can maybe find one of these, especially if you busted open a full uncirculated roll of 1968 Canadian dimes. I know there's got to be a few of them still out there, whether they're sitting in coin shops or maybe in the vaults of banks. So just to give you guys an idea in comparison, the 1968 that was struck at the Ottawa facility in Canada is worth around $61 for an MS66. So $425 for the Philadelphia and $61 for the Ottawa Mint. At the high end, it makes the Philadelphia Mint a lot more desirable and valuable, and it's a pretty easy one to identify as well. You just want to throw this under the microscope and inspect the reading. The Canadian $1 coin, affectionately referred to as the loonie, is a gold-colored coin issued by the Canadian Mint in Winnipeg since its debut in the year 1987. Its reverse side features the design of a common loon, a bird widespread in Canada. Queen Elizabeth II graces the obverse of the coin until recently, when King Charles III is about to make his debut. Now, the coin has seen various commemorative additions with unique designs replacing the loon image. With its distinctive 11-sided polygonal shape and unique dimensions, the Canadian loonie bears a resemblance to the Susan B. Anthony dollar in the United States. The coin's shade matches the gold color of the Sacagawea and presidential dollars. After its introduction, the term loonie became synonymous with the Canadian dollar. In common Canadian language, it's often discussed in media regarding its exchange rate. The Canadian Mint actually acquired the trademark for the term loonie in the year 2006. When the Canadian $2 coin was introduced in the year 1996, it quickly earned the moniker of toonie, a blend of two and loonie. In March of 1986, the Canadian government announced the phasing out of the dollar bill in favor of the new dollar coin to be introduced the following year. The initial production of 300 million coins costing $31.8 million aimed to generate annual revenue exceeding the production costs. Funds from the coin, including $60 million for the 1988 Winter Olympics in Calgary, were expected to benefit various projects. The decision to model the coin after the Susan B. Anthony dollar aimed to ensure compatibility with US vending machines, as it shared a similar size and color. The perceived failure of the Susan B. Anthony dollar in the United States, which was attributed to its unattractiveness and resemblance to the quarter coin, actually influenced the design and marketing approach for the new dollar coins. Now, before we discuss this loonie variety, first we should go over the gentleman who is actually featured on this coin. He's a Canadian whose story is not only inspirational, but has made him one of the most beloved and cherished icons in Canadian history, and that man is Terry Fox. Terry Fox was born on July 28, 1958 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. In the year 1977, at the age of 18, he was tragically diagnosed with bone cancer in his right leg. To prevent the cancer from spreading, Terry's right leg was amputated 6 inches above the knee, and he received a prosthetic limb. While undergoing treatment, Terry was deeply moved by the suffering of cancer patients around him. He then conceived the idea of the Marathon of Hope, a cross-country run to raise awareness and funds for cancer research. Terry believed that if each Canadian donated $1, it could make a significant impact. On April 12, 1980, Terry Fox dipped his artificial leg in the Atlantic Ocean in St. John's, Newfoundland, marking the start of his cross-country run. Despite challenges and skepticism, Terry remained determined to run across Canada to the Pacific Ocean. His journey covered an average of 42 kilometers or 26 miles per day, the equivalent of a marathon. His journey took him through 6 provinces, and he faced physical challenges including blisters, extreme weather, and exhaustion. Along the way, Terry became a national hero, capturing the hearts of Canadians. After running for 143 days and covering 5,373 kilometers, that's 3,339 miles, Terry Fox was forced to stop near Thunder Bay, Ontario on September 1st, 1980. Unfortunately, the cancer had returned and spread to his lungs, making it impossible for him to continue. Terry Fox's Marathon of Hope raised over $24 million for cancer research. He became a symbol of hope, courage, and the power of one individual to make a difference. Terry Fox passed away on June 28, 1981 at the age of 22, but his legacy lives on through the annual Terry Fox Run and the ongoing work of the Terry Fox Foundation. Terry Fox's story continues to inspire people globally, and his impact on cancer research and awareness remains immeasurable. Now, what do you say we get into the coin that you guys are all here to find out about, and that is the 2005 Terry Fox No Grass variety. In the year 2005, the Canadian Mint decided to immortalize Terry Fox by featuring a depiction of his incredible marathon on the reverse of some of the loonies released for circulation that year. Little known to most, there are actually 2 recognized varieties for this loonie which gravitate around the presence or density of what should be a patch of grass behind Terry Fox. The more rare of these 2 varieties is the No Grass, which to identify you want to look at the grass in the background behind Terry Fox's ankle. Now, there will still be some grass present in the no grass variety, but it should be more spread out and not quite as dense as the regular grass variety. Now, I will put an example of what the no grass variety looks like on the screen right now, but what I suggest is if you find a 2005 Terry Fox loonie, that you hold on to it regardless if it is the grass or no grass variety, and you actually use it to compare or as a reference if you do find any more, and you can probably determine a lot more easily whether you have the grass or no grass variety. Now, some of the details and specifications for this coin. The 2005 Terry Fox loonie has an overall mintage of 12,909,000. It is composed of 91.5% nickel and 8.5% bronze. It has a weight of 7 grams, a diameter of 26.50 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Susanna Blunt and Susan Taylor for the obverse, and Robert R. Carmichael and Terrence Smith for the reverse. The edge is smooth, it is magnetic, and has a die axis and metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian, Australian, and British coins. Now, unfortunately, as is the case with most Canadian loonie and toonies, it is very hard to find any that are worth much more than face value, especially when they are pretty beat up. But even though these coins are not worth a fortune today, they do have the potential to increase in value over time, as they have already seen some pretty big price jumps, and only being a few decades old means that if you do find one, it will usually be in pretty good shape. Charlton Catalogs currently evaluates this coin at $150 for an MS66 example, but Coins in Canada gives it a much lower value. Now, MS66 is a very high grade, but it is not the top of the Sheldon scale. It is not quite an MS67, so that is pretty good news. If you are able to cherry pick or find an entire roll of these 2005 Terry Fox loonies, and they are all the no grass variety, you can probably make a pretty decent profit. I've seen these for sale at some of my local coin shops, and they are usually going for a pretty decent price. So this coin is classified as a specimen mule, meaning that it comes out of the 2010 Wildlife Specimen Set. The inception of specimen finishes marked a turning point in the world of coin minting, as it elevated the art form to new heights of sophistication and complexity. Each coin meticulously crafted with this finish serves as a testament to the ingenuity and skill of our artisans who meticulously execute every detail with precision and care. From the precisely machined matte lines that form the backdrop to the intricate relief elements brought to life with intricate detailing, each aspect of the specimen finish reflects a commitment to excellence and a dedication to pushing the boundaries of what is possible in coin design. In modern numismatics, specimen coins continue to captivate collectors with their unparalleled beauty and craftsmanship. While the original intent of the finish was to showcase technical capabilities, it has since become synonymous with elegance and refinements in coin design. Today, collectors eagerly anticipate the release of new specimen coins and sets, each offering a unique interpretation of the finish with varying degrees of frosting and texture. From classic designs to innovative motifs, specimen coins continue to inspire awe and admiration among numismatists and collectors worldwide, cementing their status as cherished treasures within any collection. The Canadian 2010 specimen dime presents a fascinating anomaly in the realm of numismatics, known as a reverse handsome mule. This unique variety can only be found within special specimen sets, specifically those containing the Lynx Kittens $2 coins. While these sets were originally intended to showcase the beauty of Canadian wildlife, some specimens deviated from the norm due to a production fault. At some point when the dimes for this set were being struck, instead of featuring the proper 2010 specimen finish obverse die, a 2010 circulation strike obverse die was inadvertently used during the minting process. This unexpected occurrence resulted in the striking of a small number of coins with a mismatched finish, earning them the moniker of reverse handsome mule coins. The combination of a circulation or business strike die on a proof or specimen coin adds an extra layer of intrigue and complexity, making them highly sought after by collectors seeking rare and unusual varieties. Identifying whether your coin is a mule is relatively straightforward. Simply inspect the background of the obverse side. If it exhibits a glossy finish instead of the expected matte finish seen on regular specimen coins, it is likely a mule. This distinct difference in surface texture serves as a telltale sign of the mule variety, distinguishing it from standard counterparts and adding to the allure among collectors. Now, as I mentioned, this is a specimen coin, so your best chance of being able to find one of these mules is going to be pulling it out of the 2010 specimen set, but that doesn't say that you can't ever find one of these in the wild. Who knows if maybe there is another version of this where they accidentally struck some of the business strikes with a specimen finish, so it is always good to have these dates on your radar so you know what to look for. I have found plenty of NIFC coins in some of my coin roll hunts in the past, including specimen and proof coins, and if you were to find a Canadian 10-cent specimen coin from the year 2010, it definitely doesn't hurt to flip it over the obverse and look for that glossy finish, which would indicate that it was struck with the business strike obverse die, and then you have an extremely rare coin. Now, there are some price evaluations for this piece. It is designated as an SP because it is a specimen coin. The lowest price valuation kicks in at an SP64 for $294. Coins graded SP64 are considered to be in choice uncirculated condition with minor imperfections. Despite these flaws, coins graded SP64 will still maintain strong eye appeal and overall attractiveness to collectors. Now, the next valuation is for an SP65, which is $343. This coin is evaluated at $345 for an SP66, so you're not seeing huge price jumps for this coin as it does increase in the grading tiers, but still this is one that not a lot of people know about, and it will definitely see some increase in value over time. Now, the maximum appraised value for this coin is $415 for an SP67. It is possible that it could score higher. A lot of modern Canadian coins can score higher than the 67 mark. It is very rare for older Canadian coins to score above either an MS67, a Proof 67, or a Specimen 67. but modern coins have a lot better of a chance, especially coins like toonies, loonies, and the colored quarters. I have definitely seen some higher graded examples of those. Now, $415 for an SP67. For Canadian coins, SP67 basically represents the pinnacle of preservation with virtually no visible imperfections, even under magnification. Finding coins in your pocket change with a high grade like this is very uncommon, but when you are pulling a Canadian specimen coin out of a set, they take a lot of care when they're striking the specimen coins at the Canadian Mint. There is definitely an extra level of care when the Canadian Mint produces specimen coins. They probably put them into the sets very carefully, and they probably have extra levels of quality assurance to make sure not too many flaws or errors get out there, even though there are some of these rare mules that have been accounted for. Now, your best chance of being able to find the 2010 Mule Specimen Dime is going to be to pull it out of a fresh 2010 specimen set. If you want to be able to get one of these sets, the best places to find them are probably your local coin shop. You could try eBay, maybe Kijiji, or Facebook Marketplace. You definitely don't want to pay too much for the set, but unfortunately the coins in this set are facing reverse side out, so you will not really be able to scope out if it actually has this mule inside it. It will be a bit of a gamble, but if you are able to score one of these sets for a reasonable price, you may be able to turn a profit. Even if it doesn't have the Mule Specimen Dime, it does have a unique toonie with a unique design, and I know people definitely want this toonie for their collections, so being able to buy one of these sets and finding this Mule Dime would just be a little cherry on top bonus. Now, once again, very quickly, to be able to identify the 2010 specimen mule coin, what you want to do is look at the reverse, and it will have the typical specimen finish, meaning it will be grainy and matte. Then you want to flip over to the obverse of the coin, and it will be shiny and glossy, which is typical of the business or circulation strikes. In the year 1999, to commemorate the establishment of Nunavut, Canada's newest territory, the Canadian government commissioned a special design for the toonie. Renowned First Nations artist Germain Arnon-Tayok was selected to create this unique design, infusing it with cultural significance and symbolism reflective of Nunavut's heritage. Arnon-Tayok's artistic vision brought to life the essence of Nunavut's founding, celebrating its indigenous culture and the resilience of its people. This commemorative design graced all 1999 $2 coins intended for general circulation, becoming an emblem of Nunavut's identity and historical significance. Depicting motifs inspired by Inuit art tradition, such as Arctic wildlife and cultural symbols, the coin serves as a tangible representation of Nunavut's rich cultural heritage. This special edition of the toonie held immense significance for Canadians nationwide, marking a milestone in the country's history and recognizing the importance of Indigenous voices and narratives. I actually remember when they first released this commemorative Nunavut toonie. I was only 9 years old at the time, and it was probably the first commemorative coin that I ever found in my pocket change, and even I didn't know back then that decades later these coins would hold such significance in my own life. It's important to note that in 1999, the iconic polar bear design typically featured on Canadian $2 coins was only available in limited quantities within special coin sets tailored for the collector market. These sets were designed to appeal to numismatists and collectors and offered a unique opportunity to acquire a piece of Canadian history and culture. In the fascinating realm of Canadian numismatics, a remarkable tale unfolds with the 1999 Nunavut Mule Toonie, an air coin that captivates collectors with its unique characteristics and also historical significance. During the minting process of the Nunavut $2 coins, an unusual mishap occurred when the reverse die designated for the striking of proof silver coins was mistakenly employed to produce a portion of regular circulation coins. This unintentional blending of minting processes resulted in the creation of a select number of Nunavut Mule Toonies, adding to this intriguing chapter in the denomination's history. Identifying these elusive mule coins requires a keen eye and an understanding of their distinguishing features. Unlike their standard circulation counterparts, Nunavut Mule Toonies lack the raised ring around the inner core on the reverse side of the coin. This anomaly is particularly noteworthy given that the Nunavut Toonies were struck in both base metals for circulation and precious metals for collectors, with variations in the reverse design. By examining the reverse of the coin closely, you can discern the absence of the raised rim where the ring and insert meet, indicating the coin's status as the mule variant. Now, the overall mintage for the Canadian 1999 Nunavut toonie is 25,130,000. Let's take a little look into some of the technical specifications into the coin. It was crafted with an outer ring made of 100% nickel and a core comprising of 92% copper, 6% aluminum, and 2% nickel. It has a weight of 7.3 grams and a diameter of 28 millimeters. The edge of the coin is serrated, which adds to its visual appeal and tactile experience, while the engraved designs on both the obverse and reverse sides showcase the artistic talents of renowned artists Dora DePadre Hunt, Germain Arnott-Tayuk, and Jose Azio. With an estimated production of approximately 3,000 mule coins, the Nunavut Mule Toonie stands as a rare and coveted treasure within the realm of Canadian numismatics. Its unique status as a handsome mule, coupled with its association within the founding of Nunavut, Canada's newest territory, adds layers of historical significance and cultural resonance. As collectors and enthusiasts alike marvel at these intriguing specimens, each Nunavut Mule Toonie serves as a tangible testament to the intricacies and occasional surprises found within the world of coin minting. Now, once again, to identify this coin, Nunavut Mule Toonies lack the raised ring around the inner core on the reverse side of the coin. By examining the reverse side closely, you can discern the absence of the raised rim where the ring and the insert meet, which will indicate its status as the mule variant. So what do you say we discuss some of the values for the 1999 Nunavut Toonies? Now, the regular base price for the 1999 Polar Bear out of the Proof set, now this is not actually a Proof Strike, it is just simply a uncirculated set, is worth around $35 for the Polar Bear. That is the more valuable of the regular issues. And then there is the regular issue 1999 Nunavut without any errors or varieties. This is worth around $25 maximum, which isn't too bad. If you're able to score one of these sets for a pretty reasonable price, around $20, and the coins are in impeccable condition, you can still turn a little profit if you send it in to be graded. But then we have the Holy Grail, the Nunavut Mule Toonie, which is quite a bit more valuable than the other two, if I do say so myself. Now, the price estimates kick in for this coin at NBU 64, so it is not a proof-like strike or a proof strike, it is just a business strike that contains this mule air. For an NBU 64, it can be worth around $245. For a 66, it can be worth $318. And for an uncirculated 67, it can be worth around $537. If it did score any higher, a 68 or 69, you could easily be talking a $1,000 coin or more. Now, just to clarify quickly, in the realm of Canadian numismatics, coin sets play a pivotal role in commemorating significant events and celebrating our nation's rich heritage. One notable category within these sets is the NBU, or Brilliant Uncirculated Coins. These coins, while not intended for circulation, are struck with the same composition as those produced for general circulation. The only difference is that they are basically packaged meticulously by the mint, but the actual strikes or finishes on these coins are no different than the standard circulation issues. From the moment of their minting, Brilliant Uncirculated set coins are carefully preserved in protective envelopes or the original packaging, which safeguards their luster and ensures their untouched state. However, once removed from these secure confines, distinguishing one of these Brilliant Uncirculated set coins from a circulated business strike becomes a more challenging task, as their identical compositions blur the lines between a numismatic treasure and an everyday currency. The evolution of terminology within the numismatic community sheds light on the significance of these Brilliant Uncirculated set coins. They were initially referred to as proof-like or PL coins, but the term underwent a transformation in the year 1977, with third-party grading companies and other references adopting the NBU designation. This change reflected a broader recognition of the coin's brilliant and uncirculated state, highlighting their value beyond more than currency. So pretty much what I am trying to tell you guys is, if you buy a Canadian proof set after the year 1977, your coins will receive a designation of NBU, meaning Brilliant Uncirculated out of a set. But if you send a pre-1977 coin in to be graded, it will either receive a PL proof-like designation, or if it's a little bit earlier, it might also receive the PR designation, which is the proof designation. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because a lot of these mule coins will get the NBU designation. They weren't actually produced for general circulation. That doesn't mean that you can't find them in your pocket change, or if you are coin roll hunting. Crazier things have happened and people have found true gems and one-of-a-kind holy grails before, so it is always good to have these coins on your radar and know what to look for so you don't accidentally let a gem slip back into the wilds of circulation. The 2000 Millennium Quarter sets introduced a fascinating addition to Canadian numismatics. They featured a non-legal tender token alongside the traditional coinage. This token boasts a striking design, showcasing a stylized map of Canada on the obverse side, with the reverse side proudly displaying the year 2000 amidst a field adorned with Royal Canadian Mint logos. The inclusion of this unique token adds an extra layer of significance to the commemorative sets and captivates the interests of collectors and enthusiasts alike. During the production of this token, a noteworthy anomaly emerged: the obverse die used for the token that was originally intended for the February 25-cent coin. This unforeseen occurrence led to the creation of a non-legal tender token featuring a denomination but lacking a corresponding date. This particular circumstance adds a layer of intrigue to these tokens, elevating their collectability and value among numismatists and those who seek rare and unusual pieces. For anyone wishing to identify whether their token is this rare mule, there are key indicators to look out for. The obverse of the mule token will bear the inscription 25 cents along with the effigy of Queen Elizabeth. This distinct combination sets the mule apart from the standard tokens, making it highly sought after. The discovery of these mules adds an element of excitement to the hobby and prompts enthusiasts to meticulously examine their collections in search of these elusive treasures. The allure of this mule token lies in its unique characteristics. They serve as a tangible reminder of the intricacies of coin production, showcasing the occasional deviations from the norm that can result in highly prized collectibles. For any avid collector or coin roll hunter, uncovering one of these mules would add a thrilling chapter to their numismatic journey. The value of the non-mule version of the 2000 Millennium Quarter set token typically ranges from $3 to $10 when found individually outside of the complete set. However, the discovery of one of these mules, whether obtained through your pocket change coin roll hunting or included in one of these sets, could dramatically alter its worth. Due to the rarity and intrigue surrounding such anomalies in coin production, a mule coin can fetch a significantly higher premium, often reaching up to 10 times the value of the regular issue, depending on various factors such as its condition and the demand from collectors. When assessing the value of a mule coin, its condition plays a crucial role. Coins in pristine condition with minimal wear and damage tend to command much higher prices, as they are more desirable to collectors seeking quality specimens for their collections. Coins with noticeable flaws or signs of wear may fetch lower prices, although the rarity of the mule variety still contributes to its overall value. Another big factor that can influence the value of these coins is demand from collectors. Numismatists are often drawn to coins with unique characteristics or historical significance, such as mule coins, which result from production errors. The scarcity of these mule coins is what adds to their appeal, as collectors are willing to pay a premium to acquire these elusive pieces and add them to their collections. Now, the method of acquisition can also affect the perceived value of a mule coin. Coins discovered through chance encounters, such as finding them in your pocket change or while coin roll hunting, may hold sentimental value for the finder and could potentially command higher prices due to the excitement of the discovery. On the other hand, coins obtained through purchase, especially from reputable dealers or auctions, may be subject to market pricing based on factors such as its condition and also the demand. But this is a rare mule that most people do not know about, and it is sure to see an increase in value as time goes on and more people become aware of it. The value of a mule coin from the 2000 Millennium Quarter set can vary greatly depending on its condition and the circumstances of its acquisition. While the non-mule version of this coin may have a modest value, the discovery of one of these mules can significantly increase its worth, with prices potentially reaching up to $100 to $500 for a high-grade specimen. Now, there is not a set price or value currently for this coin, so it is pretty much a case of it is worth whatever you can get somebody to pay for it. But if I ever found one of these in my pocket change or coin roll hunting, even if it wasn't in the greatest shape, I still wouldn't let it go for any less than $50. So once again, to be able to identify this coin, you want to look in the 2000 Millennium Quarter set, and the obverse of the coin should feature the typical stylized map of Canada, while the reverse should actually have Queen Elizabeth and the denomination of 25 cents. So technically there will be two obverses on this coin. In honor of Canada's 150th anniversary, a glow-in-the-dark coin was introduced into circulation, presenting the ethereal charm of the Northern Lights in a new, truly distinctive manner. Crafted for the special occasion of Canada's 150th birthday, the 2017 toonie, aptly named the Dance of Spirits, pays homage to the marvels of Canadian landscapes by showcasing the breathtaking Aurora Borealis. The design on the reverse side of the Dance of the Spirits 2017 toonie portrays adventurers gracefully paddling across a tranquil lake beneath the radiant veil of the Northern Lights. The Northern Lights are actually referred to as the Dance of the Spirits by the Cree peoples, adding cultural depth and symbolism to the coin. Another cohesive element among the different 2017 commemorative coins is the inclusion of the Canada 150th logo, characterized by a mosaic arrangement of 13 triangular shapes, each representing a different province or territory. Some of the specifications for this coin: it was crafted with a 3-ply nickel finish plated with steel for the outer ring, and a 3-ply brass finish plated with aluminum bronze for the inner core. The coin has a weight of 6.99 grams and a diameter of 28 millimeters and was released for general circulation. Marking a significant milestone in coinage history, the Canadian 2017 glow-in-the-dark toonie stands out as the world's premier glow-in-the-dark coin to be introduced into general circulation. This wasn't the first instance of the Canadian Mint venturing into the realm of glow-in-the-dark coins. In the year 2012, Canada unveiled a quarter featuring the luminous skeleton of a dinosaur. Though this coin wasn't intended for widespread circulation, its innovation didn't go unnoticed. In fact, it garnered the prestigious Krause Publications 2014 Coin of the Year award for its trailblazing design, further solidifying Canada's reputation as a leader in numismatic innovation. Now, what do you say we get into the coin that you guys are all here to find out about, and that is the Canadian 2017 Snow on Trees variety for this glow-in-the-dark toonie. Now, the 2017 glow-in-the-dark Snow on Trees variety presents a distinctive feature that sets it apart from its regular counterpart. To identify this unique variety, one must scrutinize the details of the tree line on the center brass core of the coin. If the tree line is outlined by a white shading or glow, then it belongs to the Snow on Trees variety. If there is no white outlining the trees, then it is the standard version without any variety. While this error variety might not be widely recognized currently, it bears similarities to popular errors seen in coins from the United States, which have garnered considerable attention among collectors. Considering the rarity of the 2017 toonie, which is arguably one of the most scarcest in circulation, with a minimum base value ranging from $10 to $20 when they sell online, possessing the Snow on Trees or the Snow on Mountains variety could elevate the value of a high-grade example to being one of the most coveted among toonie collectors. Now, if we take a look at coin errors in the United States, one notable example is the extra leaf error found on the Wisconsin State Quarter, which was released in the year 2004 as part of the 50 State Quarters program. Now, on this subtle error, an additional leaf appears on the ear of the corn featured on the reverse side of the coin. This anomaly was the result of a die variety, likely due to misalignment during the minting process. Coin errors like the extra leaf Wisconsin quarter can significantly impact the value of a coin. Collectors often seek out such varieties due to their rarity and uniqueness. In the case of the Wisconsin quarter, coins with the extra leaf error can fetch prices well above their face value, particularly if they're in high-grade condition. Depending on factors such as the severity of the error, the coin's condition, and also demand from collectors, the value of these error coins can vary widely. These varieties are often viewed as curiosities and highly sought after by numismatists. As a result, error coins can command premiums in the numismatic market, and it makes them a valuable asset for collectors who are keen to acquire rare and unusual pieces that may appreciate in value. So even though this 2017 toonie might not be setting the coin world on fire right now, it doesn't mean that that can't change very quickly, and this could easily become one of the most valuable toonies that you could find or look for. If I had to give an estimate currently, if you were able to find one of these and identify the snow on trees variety, it would probably be worth about 5 to 10 times the value of the regular glow in the dark toonie. So the regular glow in the dark being worth around $100 to $150 in a high grade state, I don't doubt that this coin could be worth up to $1,000 if it's scored in the high mint state range and somebody really wanted to add it to their collection. Now, one super crucial piece of advice that I want to share is about the value of coins. One of the questions that I get asked most often on my channel is, how much is my coin worth? Now, whether it's a rare gem, a key date, an error or variety, or even a common piece, determining a coin's true worth boils down to a simple fact. It's worth exactly what someone is willing to pay for it. Even though I might assess a coin at a certain value based on several factors such as rarity and condition, that estimate doesn't necessarily guarantee that the coin will actually sell for that price. For instance, you might find a buyer willing to pay top dollar for an MS67 example of a coin, especially if they're a passionate collector of air coins. But in most cases, buying and selling coins often results in a loss rather than a substantial profit. Now, there are instances where seemingly ordinary coins can fetch far more than their face value. I've actually experienced this firsthand. Some individuals have disposable income and are willing to splurge on coins, while others are driven by the desire to complete their collections and are willing to pay a premium for specific pieces. Additionally, there are those who may not be well versed in coin valuation and are simply drawn to spending money on items they find intriguing. So to summarize, a coin's rarity and potential value doesn't always translate into a guaranteed sale. Sometimes seemingly insignificant coins can sometimes fetch unexpectedly high prices. While I do advocate for honesty in representing a coin's value and discourage misrepresentation for profit, I also believe that certain modern coins, such as colored Canadian quarters from certain years, hold value beyond their face value. These coins, although occasionally encountered in everyday transactions in Canada, can be highly sought after by collectors worldwide, leading to increased demand and higher prices. So all of that being said, if you did find one of these 2017 toonies and you are able to identify the snow on trees variety, your best chance of being able to sell one of these for the highest premium is probably going to be on eBay or an online marketplace site like maybe Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji. In the year 2021, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the iconic Bluenose ship, the Royal Canadian Mint introduced a redesign for the Canadian 10-cent coin, featuring a new artistic rendition by Nova Scotia marine artist Yves Berube. In a groundbreaking move, the Mint also released Canada's first ever colored dimes, incorporating a touch of blue to vividly portray the essence of the Bluenose. The inspiration for this redesign actually traces back to the year 1937, when the Bluenose ship, symbolizing a cherished national emblem for Canada, influenced the original design of the 10-cent coin during the reimagining of Canada's circulating coins. Marie Lemay, president and CEO of the Royal Canadian Mint, expressed enthusiasm about this historic occasion, emphasizing the enduring legacy of the Bluenose in Canadian history. The Bluenose was launched in March 1921 from Lunenburg Harbor and quickly gained fame as the swiftest fishing schooner worldwide. Not only did it secure a record catch on the Grand Banks in its inaugural season, but it also brought the International Fisherman's Trophy to Nova Scotia. The Bluenose maintained an undefeated status in racing for almost 2 decades, earning the title Queen of the North Atlantic Fishing Fleet. Its international representation included notable appearances at events such as the Chicago World's Fair in 1933 and His Majesty King George V's Silver Jubilee in 1935. Contrary to its name, the Bluenose actually had a black and red hull with a yellow strip. The term Bluenose had been a moniker for Nova Scotians since at least the year 1785. The coin's reverse was designed by Yves Berube and showcases an angled view of the Bluenose under a full sail and heeled to port on an open sea. This dynamic portrayal is available in both colored and uncolored versions, both of which bear the double-dated inscription 1921 to 2021. The colored version is groundbreaking for a 10-cent circulation coin, featuring blue highlights that represent the deep waters of the North Atlantic. The obverse side features the effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Now, even though these commemorative design dimes from the year 2021 are incredibly revolutionary and beautiful, It is actually the single date plain design for the 2021 dime that you are looking for. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are actually 4 different designs for the 2021 dime. The first is the colored blue nose, then there is the uncolored commemorative blue nose design, then there is the double date, which will have the date of 1921 to 2021, and then there is the single date dime, which will only have the date of 2021, and that is the one that you want to look for. The mintage of a coin refers to the total number of copies produced, and it plays a crucial role in determining a coin's rarity and potential value in the collector's market. In the context of the 4 different designs for Canadian dimes in the year 2021, the regular design with a single date has a much lower mintage compared to the other 3 designs, making it more valuable and rare for several different reasons. Distribution and circulation. The regular design of a coin is often the one intended for general circulation, and these coins are distributed widely for everyday transactions. Usually special or commemorative designs will be produced in smaller quantities and may not be as widely circulated, but in the case of the single date 2021, it is actually the opposite. Collector interest. Collectors often show a keen interest in special or limited edition coin designs, leading to a higher demand for these coins. Usually the regular designs, being more common and part of everyday transactions, might not attract the same level of collector attention initially. But this is actually something that adds to the intrigue and allure of this single date 2021, as because it does not stand apart from any other Canadian dime in terms of its design, they can easily slip under the radar of normal coin muggles, I guess we will call them. Now, when I say coin muggle, I am not trying to say it in a derogatory sense, but basically it is a term that I will use for anyone that doesn't have any knowledge of numismatics, and they might actually let a coin that is worth a lot of money go in an everyday transaction. That's why it is always good to arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge, that way you don't accidentally let a coin into circulation that is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars by mistake. Minting decisions. Mintage decisions are made by the mint, and they're based on factors such as public demand, commemorative events, and overall coin production requirements. Regular designs are typically minted in larger quantities to meet the demands of daily commerce, while special designs may have limited mintages. Now, my best guess when it comes to the 2021 single date dime is that the Canadian Mint didn't actually have a really good plan in 2021 for how they were going to roll out the commemorative dimes. They may have actually struck some of the single date dimes at the beginning, and then when they eventually planned or introduced the double date dimes with the date of 1921 to 2021, they may have actually switched up and produced a larger quantity of those. And because they had already made a decent amount of the single dates initially, they just released them into circulation and gave them out to banks. A similar situation would probably be with the 1991 quarters that have a very low mintage of around 450,000. Marketing and promotion. Special designs are often actively marketed and promoted by the mint, generating additional interest and demand. Regular designs may not receive the same level of promotional effort, which actually probably made the 2021 single date fly under the radar a little bit. Due to these factors and its lower mintage, coupled with the potential lower initial collector interest, can contribute to its rarity and consequently its increased value among collectors over time. However, the actual rarity and value will depend on the coin's condition and also the collector landscape for that particular year. Now, some of the details and specifications for the 2021 single date Canadian dime, if any of these are off, it may indicate that it is not an authentic example. It is composed of 92% steel, 5.5% copper, and 2.5% nickel. It has a weight of 1.75 grams, a diameter of 18.03 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.22 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Susanna Blunt and Suzanne Taylor for the obverse and Emmanuel Hahn for the reverse. The edge is reeded, it is magnetic, and has a die axis and metal alignment, which is the standard for most Canadian, Australian, and British coins. Now, in terms of value, this is not a coin that you're going to get rich off of today. This is one that definitely has the potential to increase in value over time, and if you were to find one and it had any errors or anything special or notable about it, it may add to its value quite substantially. But it cannot be stated enough how rare these things are and how small your chances actually are of ever stumbling upon one of these in your pocket change. If you're a coin roll hunter, you might get lucky and find one of these every couple of boxes, but chances are you're going to have to search and search if you want to find one of these bad boys. Now, in terms of value, on the low end, it doesn't hold too much of a premium, but I would say you can probably get around $1 for one of these, even if it's beat up, worn, and been put through the meat grinder. But the good news is it's a fairly recent dime, only 2 years old as I'm making this video. So chances are most of them are going to be in pretty good shape at this point still. But if you were able to find one and it scores at the high end of the Sheldon scale, so that is an MS67, you can get around $100 for this right now. Now, it is by far the most rare and valuable of all the different 2021 dimes that you can find, and I have no doubt that in 10 or 20 years, its value could easily increase tenfold. Creating the new design for His Majesty King Charles III's effigy involved a comprehensive and multi-step process. Following the announcement by the Government of Canada, over 350 artists in a database and also mint engravers received email invitations. The artists and engravers that expressed interest provided a portfolio of portrait work for evaluation. A thorough assessment was then conducted for each of the respondents. The short list of artists and engravers were given an artist brief with mandatory design requirements. Design concepts underwent evaluation by an internal mint review panel, assessing the submissions based on aesthetics, technical requirements, and their suitability for mass production. The winning design underwent scrutiny for necessary approvals from both the government and also Buckingham Palace. The mint initiated the engraving and tooling process, involving the creation of dies essential for striking the new coins. Subsequently, the production or striking of the new circulation coins commenced. So it was announced by the Canadian Mint in late 2023 that King Charles III coins would start making an appearance in circulation. So apparently there are some 2023 dated King Charles III coins, but the heir that we are discussing today is located on the 2024 King Charles III nickels. Now let's briefly discuss struck through or grease errors. Struck through grease errors happen when grease or other contaminants fill the recesses of a coin die, preventing it from fully impressing the design onto the coin. If grease accumulates in certain areas of the die, those areas may not strike the coin properly, resulting in missing details or a blurry appearance where the grease obstructs the design. The affected area on the coin will typically show missing or distorted features with a flattened or smeared appearance. Now, there are several different types of struck through errors. Coins can be struck through wire, they can be struck through fabric. Coins that have struck through wire errors occur when a piece of wire or another foreign object is caught between the dies during the striking process. This foreign object interferes with the normal striking process, preventing the full impression of the design on the coin blank. The wire may also be partially embedded in the coin, leaving an impression on the struck surface. Usually these coins will exhibit a raised line or indentation corresponding to the shape of the wire or object. The affected area may have missing or distorted details depending on the severity of the interference. In both cases, these errors are considered minting anomalies, and their occurrence is typically unintentional. They add an extra level of uniqueness and desirability to the affected coins and can be of great interest to collectors. The degree of rarity and also desirability of these errors depends on several factors, such as the prominence of the struck-through feature, the coin's overall condition, and the appeal to collectors seeking these unusual or rare coins. Depending on the severity of the grease error and also if the coin has a visible date can greatly affect the value. But I know from experience that these are some of the most sought after error coins by experienced collectors. I've actually found a 2002 Canadian quarter with a pretty large grease error, and I sold it for around $100, and it was honestly one of my most profitable coin roll hunting finds to date. So these are out there, and they definitely fly under the radar of anyone who doesn't know how to identify them. In the case of this 2024 nickel, the gentleman who posted about it found this particular coin in a sealed proof set, which to me makes it even more intriguing. Whether he decides to keep it in the packaging or submit the coin to a grading company, its high grade should add another level of value to the error. Now, as is with most coins and collectibles, the value is truly in the eye of the beholder, and it is really worth whatever you can get someone to pay for it. But if I did have to give an estimate, if you were to find an error like this on a 2024 circulation nickel and it was in reasonably good condition, I don't doubt that you could get anywhere from $20 to $30 depending on how severe the grease error appears to be on the coin. In the case of the gentleman who posted about his uncirculated 2024 Greece Air, I would give his an even higher estimate of around $100 to $500 easily, because of the fact that it's sealed and it is the first year for a new monarch being featured on the obverse of the coins. In the year 2012, there were 3 different toonie designs released for circulation. The first is the original toonie design with no added security features. The second are the security $2 coins. These toonies were meticulously crafted at the Canadian Mint's cutting-edge facility located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Leveraging the innovative multiply plated steel technology, these coins uphold the same manufacturing approach that has been successfully employed for Canada's lower denomination circulation coinage since the year 2001. This patented method involves the application of alternating layers of distinct metals including copper, nickel, and brass onto a durable steel core. The result is a coin that not only utilizes fewer metals than traditional alloy coins, but also stands out for its cost effectiveness and circulation coin production. Beyond the efficiency of the multiply plated steel technology, the $2 circulation coins of the Security series boast additional security features. These enhancements include new highly visible security elements designed to thwart counterfeiting attempts. The reverse side, also known as the tail side of the coin, showcases a laser mark micro engraving, contributing to the coin's advanced security measures. Furthermore, the $2 coins in the Security series go above and beyond with the incorporation of a virtual image and edge lettering on the reverse side. This innovative addition enhances both the aesthetic appeal and the security profile of these coins, making them not only a functional medium of exchange, but also a testament to the Mint's commitment to staying at the forefront of coinage technology. The third and final 2012 $2 circulation coin that was released is a commemorative with a depiction of the HMS Shannon on the reverse. This coin holds a special significance as it commemorates the historic naval achievements of the HMS Shannon. Renowned for its notable victory in the capture of the USS Chesapeake during a pivotal naval battle in June 1813, this coin pays tribute to a key moment in maritime history. The toonie's reverse side encapsulates the essence of the HMS Shannon's remarkable feat, emphasizing its successful escort of the American War Prize into Halifax Harbor following the defeat of the USS Chesapeake. This engagement, which unfolded in June of 1813, marked a turning point in naval warfare and showcased the prowess of the HMS Shannon and her crew. Tragically, the battle resulted in the loss of 23 Shannon crewmen. The sacrifices made by these individuals are commemorated in the Royal Navy Burying Grounds and at the Old Burial Ground, both administered by St. Paul's Church in Halifax. The graves serve as poignant reminders of the human cost associated with the pursuit of victory and the defense of national interests. Notably, a tangible relic of the HMS Shannon's legacy is preserved in Halifax, the ship's bell. Displayed at the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic, the bell stands as a testament to the vessel's historical significance and the bravery of those who served aboard it. Now, even to find one of these regular HMS Shannon coins in your pocket change can be fun, as this piece serves as a numismatic tribute to the naval prowess, sacrifices, and historical impact of this distinguished vessel. Now, little known to most, there is actually a rare variety that you can look for on this HMS Shannon toonie that can add a premium to the coin, and it is often referred to as the extra sail variety. And to identify it, you should do the following. First, you want to examine the reverse side of the 2012 Canadian HMS Shannon $2 coin. Focus on the depiction of the HMS Shannon, particularly where the ship's sails are located. Now pay close attention to the sails on the right side of the ship, particularly the most closest to the right edge of the coin. In the case of the extra sail variety, there should be one additional sail to the right side compared to the other ship masts and sails. Now, to confirm the presence of the extra sail variety, it's very helpful to compare a coin with a standard 2012 HMS Shannon toonie. For a more detailed examination, consider using magnification, such as a magnifying glass or a coin loop. This can help you scrutinize the finer details of the coin's design and confirm the presence of the additional sail. Numismatic communities and online forums often share images and information about coin varieties. You can check out some reputable sources or online forums where collectors discuss specific coin variations. If you guys are interested in joining my group on Facebook, Canadian Coin Roll Hunters, we actually have over 4,000 members now, and there are some members that post every single day. So if you think that you have found any of the coins that I discuss in any of these videos and you would like to post a picture, you will definitely get some confirmation on whether you have the rare variety or the more common. If you ever are in doubt, or if you want to ensure the accuracy of your identification, consider consulting numismatic experts or a reputable coin dealer. They may have the expertise to confirm the presence of the extra sale variety after physically inspecting the coin and possibly comparing it to high quality images. Now, the overall mintage figures for the 2012 toonies. The $2 2012 toonie without any security features has a mintage figure of 1,531,000. The 2012 toonie with security features has a mintage of 82,862,000. So it would seem that the original toonie with no security features is a lot more rare in the year 2012, but it is not much more valuable than the other 2012 toonies. The extra sale is the only one that is worth quite a bit more above face. Now, the overall mintage for the 2012 HMS Shannon toonie is 5 million, the extra sale variety being a very small limited number contained within that. In terms of its value, just to give you guys an idea in comparison, the regular HMS Shannon toonie is only worth around $5 for an MS63 example. The most valuable of the 2012 toonies at an MS63 is the 2012 without any security features, which is worth around $13. Now, if you were to find one of the HMS Shannon toonies and you can identify the extra sale, that can actually be worth $300 for an MS63 example. So this is a coin that will carry a premium even on the low end. If it's not in great shape, it can still probably be worth anywhere from $5 to $10, and as the condition increases, as will the value. Now, if you were to find one of these and it scored an MS65, it can be worth around $400, and if you got one and it scored an MS67, you might even be talking a $700 to $1,000 toonie, but you definitely need to identify the extra sale, or else it is not very valuable at all, not worth much above face, even in a mint state. Now, in the year 2012, there were actually 4 different designs released for Canadian loonies. The first is the regular loon design. The second is the loon design with added and improved security features. The production of the security $1 coins is carried out at the Mint's state-of-the-art facility located in Winnipeg, Manitoba. These coins are crafted utilizing the innovative multiply plated steel technology, a patented method that has been employed in the manufacturing of Canada's lower denomination circulation coinage since 2001. This technology also involves the application of alternating layers of distinct metals such as copper, nickel, and brass onto a steel core. This process significantly reduces the amount of metals required compared to traditional alloy coins, resulting in a cost-effective and environmentally conscious approach to coin production. These $1 coins also boost the incorporation of advanced security features, contributing to the overall safeguarding of Canada's coinage system. Notably, the reverse side, also known as the tails, showcases a laser mark micro engraving. This addition enhances the visibility of security measures, providing an extra layer of protection against counterfeiting and bolstering the integrity of the currency. The third design released in 2012 is a circulation coin known as the Lucky Loonie, with a distinctive purpose serving as a good luck charm for Canadian athletes participating in the prestigious 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games in London. This unique coin was crafted with the intention of bringing positive vibes and good fortune to the Canadian competitors on the global stage. The concept of the Lucky Loonie has its roots in a captivating legend that emerged during the 2002 Olympic Winter Games in Salt Lake City. According to the tale, a loonie, the iconic Canadian $1 coin featuring an image of a common loon, was discreetly buried at the center of the ice rink just before the commencement of the games. This hidden coin was believed to carry a charm that would bestow good luck upon Canada's hockey teams. Remarkably, in the year 2002, both the men's and women's hockey teams went on to secure gold medals, turning the Lucky Loonie into a symbol of superstition and national pride. Now, the fourth and final design for the loonie in 2012 is actually the one that you want to look for. It was released to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Grey Cup. This coin was issued as a tribute to the enduring legacy and significance of the Grey Cup, a symbol deeply ingrained in Canadian sports history. Struck with precision and artistry, the $1 coin features iconic imagery associated with the Grey Cup and its century-long tradition. The reverse side features a stylized depiction of the Grey Cup trophy and elements that capture the spirit of Canadian football. In addition to its artistic appeal, the coin serves as a tangible memento for Canadians to celebrate the rich heritage of Canadian football and the cultural significance of the Grey Cup. The issuance of this coin is not only a recognition of the sport's impact on Canadian identity, but also means of commemorating the athletes, teams, and fans who have contributed to the Grey Cup's storied legacy over the past 100 years. Now, people will usually try and fish out the loonies or toonies with added security features, as you would think that they would be worth more money, but that isn't really the case with these 2012 loonies. The value of both the Loon Reverse dollars from 2012 are both worth pretty much the same amount up and down the Sheldon scale, but little known to most, there is actually an heir that you can look for on the Grey Cup commemorative that can add a premium to the coin. Now, to identify this heir, what you want to do is look at the date of 2012 and identify machine doubling. Here's a brief explanation of how machine doubling occurs. During the coin minting process, a blank metal disc, also called a planchette, is placed on the lower die, and the upper die descends to strike the planchette, transferring the design onto it. Machine doubling occurs when there is a slight movement or shift of the coin or the die during the striking process. The result is that parts of the design appear doubled, giving the illusion of additional details or thickness. However, unlike true doubled dies, machine doubling does not involve the doubling of the coin die itself. Instead, it is a secondary unintended impression caused by movement during the striking of the coin. Machine doubling can often create a flattened or shelf-like appearance to the doubled elements. Unlike genuine doubled dies, machine doubling is typically not as sharp or well defined. It's also worth noting that machine doubling is a common occurrence and is usually considered a minor error in the minting process rather than a rare or sought after variety by coin collectors. But in the case of Canadian loonies, there are just so few that are actually worth any decent money that being able to identify even a minor error, especially if that date is known to contain one of these errors, can definitely add a premium to the coin. Now, in terms of value, a regular 2012 Grey Cup loonie isn't going to be worth much more than face value unless it is in impeccable condition, but it can be worth up to $100 if it does score an MS67, which is usually one of the highest grades obtained by Canadian coins. That being said, if you were able to identify doubling on the date of 2012, it could easily add a premium of anywhere from 3 to 5 times its original value depending on how bad somebody wants this coin. So around $300 would be my estimate if you found one of these with doubling and it scored an MS67. Usually PCGS does not attribute minor errors like this, but there is a chance if you send it off to ICCS, you may be able to get the extra error attribution, and thus the coin should be worth more money if it's in a high grade state at least. The Canadian 1990 Bear Belly Nickel. Now, this coin is a fascinating numismatic rarity that has captured the interest of collectors and enthusiasts worldwide. This unique variety is known for a distinctive error that occurred during the production process, resulting in the removal of most or some of the fur from the underbelly of the beaver depicted on the reverse side of the coin. This error has led to the coin being affectionately referred to as the bear belly variety, and it is highly sought after by collectors due to its rarity and also the intriguing story behind its creation. Now, to fully understand how the Canadian 1990 Bear Belly Nickel actually came into existence, it's essential to delve into the coin manufacturing process in Canada. The Canadian Mint, who's responsible for producing Canada's circulating coinage, employs a meticulous and multi-step approach to create coins with both precision and quality. The process begins with the design phase, where talented artists and engravers work together to craft the intricate and meaningful designs that will grace the nation's coins. In the case of the 1990 nickel, the design features the iconic image of the beaver, which is a symbol of Canada's rich natural heritage. Once the design is finalized, a master die is then created. This die serves as a template for producing numerous working dies, which will be used to strike the actual coins. These working dies are crucial to ensure consistent coin quality and detail. And then die polishing. Die polishing is a critical step in the coin minting process. It involves meticulously smoothing and refining the surface of the working die to ensure a high level of detail in the struck coins. This process is typically performed multiple times to maintain die quality. Now here's where the unique era of the bare belly variety comes into play. During the die polishing process for the 1990 nickel working dies, an unusual mistake occurred. Most of the fur on the underbelly of the beaver was inadvertently removed from the reverse side of the die. This error resulted in the beaver appearing to have a bare belly when the coins were struck using these specific dies. Now what makes this error even more intriguing is that the die was polished several times, leading to different degrees of apparent baldness in the beaver's underbelly on the coins produced from these dies. So depending on the significance and the amount of detail that has been removed from the fur on the beaver's belly, the coin will be either referred to as a full bare belly or a partial bare belly, and this definitely affects the value. If you want to get the most amount of money, you are looking for the full bare belly variation. Now, before we get into the value of this coin, let's go over some of the specifications. It is composed of 75% copper, 25% nickel. It has a weight of 4.6 grams, a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.76 millimeters. The designers and engravers for the obverse of the coin were Dora DePadre Hunt and Ago Aran, and for the reverse of the coin, G.E. Kruger Gray and Thomas Shingles. The edge of the coin is smooth, it is non-magnetic, and it is in metal alignment, as is the standard for most Canadian coins. Now, when it comes to value, this is actually a modern nickel that does hold some premium, even on the low end of the Sheldon scale. Now, if you did find one of these and it's in a G4, which is beat up and put through the meat grinder, basically a parking lot coin that has almost no detail, then it is not worth much above face value. You might be able to get 50 cents to $1 for it if somebody really wants it for their collection. But the price estimates actually start to kick in at the EF40 mark, where it is evaluated at $5 for an EF40 example, which isn't too bad for a modern nickel. It is honestly one of the most valuable and rare of the modern Canadian nickels to look for, and based on previous trends, in 10 or 20 years, the value will only keep increasing and less of these will be out in circulation, so the value of the coin will definitely go up. Now, as you start to get into the MS scale, you see some decent price jumps. It can be worth around $25 for an MS60, around $55 for an MS63, and all the way up to $378 for an MS65, which is currently the highest listed price example on coins in Canada. If you were to find one and it's scored in the MS66 or 67 range, there isn't any reason that you might not be able to get $500 to $1,000 for this coin, especially if it has the full bare belly designation as well. Now, if you were to send one of these to PCGS, they do actually attribute the bare belly variation. So if you do find one and it is in really good shape, definitely advisable that you send it off to be graded by PCGS. And if it scores in an MS66 or 67, you have yourself one incredibly rare Canadian era or variety coin. In the year 1964, the reverse die had a significant crack above the water lines on the left side of the beaver. This crack appears like an additional waterline, creating what is known as the extra waterline variety for the 1964 nickel. There is another error for the 1964 nickel. It is known as the whistling queen. To identify it, you need to look beside the queen's mouth on the obverse of the coin for a die clash that would make it appear like she is whistling. Now, there is actually a third variety that you can look for the Canadian 1964 nickels. It is not nearly as well known as the others, but it is definitely a lot more valuable, and that is the 1964 nickel in coin alignment. Canadian coins are usually meant to be struck in metal alignment, meaning when you flip the coin around, the orientation of the obverse and reverse will both be facing in the same direction. A good example of coin alignment would be American currency. Their coins are oriented so that the obverse and reverse are 180 degrees flipped from each other. This can also be known as a rotated die error. There are a few well-known Canadian dates that can contain this error. 1967 is a very well-known date. The 1967 Canadian rabbit nickels can be worth huge money if you find one with a rotated die, but the 1964 is definitely no exception. If you find one of these with a rotated die, it can be worth some huge money. Now, some of the specifications of the 1964 nickel: it has a diameter of 21.21 millimeters. It is composed of 99.99% nickel, and it has a weight of 4.54 grams. The 1964 nickel has an overall mintage of 78,075,068, and it portrays a portrait of a youthful Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse of the coin. So what do you say we get into the values for some of these incredibly rare 1964 nickel varieties? I'm actually going to start with the 1964 with no heirs or varieties, just the plain 1964 Canadian nickel, just to basically give it a base in terms of value. Now, the 1964 Canadian nickel is not worth much at all if it's in a low MS state. It's actually only worth $1 if it's from an MS60 to an MS61, but it can actually be worth all the way up to $376 if you get one in an MS67, which is an incredibly high grade designation. So chances are, rolls that are floating around these days probably don't contain nickels that will be graded that high. So as we go along here, you will find that these nickels will increase in value. Next up is the 1964 Whistling Queen. So as I mentioned earlier, to identify this, you basically want to look to the right-hand side of Queen Elizabeth's mouth, and if you see a small die clash that looks like the Queen may be spitting or whistling, then you might have one incredibly rare nickel. In terms of value, just to give you an idea, when the 1964 is worth around $1 for an MS60, the 1964 Whistling Queen is worth about $10 for an MS60. Now, on the high end, it can be worth around $270 for an MS65, but if it were to grade any higher, I'm sure you would see a significant price jump. It could easily be $500, $600 for an MS66 example, and that is the 1964 Whistling Queen. The 1964 Extra Waterline nickel is probably one of the most well-known Canadian nickel heirs of the last 50 years. The rarity and scarcity of these things is not to be understated. I have hunted thousands and thousands of dollars in Canadian nickels, and it is still one I have yet to find. It is definitely on my bucket list, along with the 1991 quarter. Those are two coins that are super elusive for me, but hopefully one day will be my day. But in terms of value, the 1964 Extra Waterline can even be pretty valuable on the low end. It can be worth around $10 to $20, even in a low grade state if it's all beat up and worn. People want this thing for their collection or to fill their books out. It can be worth around $45 to $50 in the low MS range, and all the way up to $1,960 for an MS65 example. Now, to identify the Extra Waterline, you want to look to the left of the beaver, and you will look for a die crack that is running along the KG initials that will make it appear as if there is an extra waterline. Now, you don't actually even really need a microscope to identify this one. You can see it with the naked eye, or you could even just zoom in with your phone. So this is definitely one of the best varieties to look for. I have known other coin roll hunters that have found them. I know they are out there, but they are extremely rare, and they are pretty much a holy grail of the modern Canadian nickels. So the last one we are going to discuss today is the 1964 in coin alignment. As I mentioned, Canadian coins are usually made in metal alignment, meaning that the obverse and reverse are facing in the same orientation, but when a coin is in coin alignment, it means they are rotated 180 degrees. It can also be known as a rotated die. In terms of value, there aren't any super high MS examples of this, but it can be worth around $2,510 for a low grade MS example. So MS60, MS61, if you were to find one of these and it scored MS65, you could easily be talking a $10,000 nickel. So this is by far the rarest and most valuable of the Canadian 1964 nickel heirs and varieties to look for, and that is the 1964 in coin alignment.
Canadian coin heirs encompass a fascinating range of anomalies that arise during the minting process, influenced by factors like coin dies, planchette quality, striking pressure, and also mechanical issues. These heirs can come in all shapes and sizes in various forms, altering the appearance of the coins. Now let's briefly go over some of the different heirs and how they can affect the value of the coins. First, there are die heirs. These errors originate from issues related to the coin dies themselves, and they can include double dies. This happens when the die is engraved with multiple impressions of the design. It can result in doubled or overlapping features on the coin. Strongly double dyed coins, especially if well preserved, are highly sought after by collectors and can command significant premiums. There are also die cracks and clashes. Damage to the dies from overuse or time can lead to distinctive patterns on the coins, such as cracks or clashes. While not generally considered as valuable as double dies, coins with prominent die cracks or clashes can still be desirable to collectors. Planchette errors. These errors stem from imperfections in the coin's blank metal disc or planchette, and these can include off-center strikes, and this happens when the coin is struck off-center where the design is misaligned. This can increase a coin's value depending on the visibility and impact on the design. There are also clipped planchettes. This happens when a portion of the planchette is missing. It results in planchette clips, which can also enhance a coin's value. There are several other planchette flaws like laminations or other flaws in the planchette that can affect the coin's appearance and potentially make it more valuable. Striking errors. These occur during the coin press operation process and can include off-center strikes. These are coins with improper centering due to striking errors, and they can become collectible if the error results in a visually appealing and unique design. Overstrikes. This happens when the coin is struck multiple times with different dies. It can create interesting variations and increase its numismatic value. And then last but not least are mechanical errors. Now, mechanical issues within the coin press can lead to errors like machine doubling, where the design appears flattened or doubled due to die movement during the strike. Machine doubling errors are more common and generally have lower value compared to other rare error types. And then there are rotated die errors, which are the errors that you are looking for on these Canadian provincial quarters. Now, rotated die errors on Canadian coins are intriguing anomalies that occur when one of the two coin dies is misaligned or becomes loose during the minting process, resulting in a rotation of the design. These errors can be classified into two main categories: stable rotation and dynamic rotation. Stable rotation. In stable rotation errors, one of the dies is misaligned during installation, leading to consistent rotation in multiple coins produced from the same die pair. This type of error is characterized by a fixed degree of rotation and can be exemplified by certain coin examples, such as a piece that is meant to be struck in metal alignment, but when you are looking for the rotated die variety, it always comes in coin alignment or with a fixed degree or axis. And then there is dynamic rotation. Dynamic rotation errors occur when one of the dies becomes loose during the striking process and rotates on its axis. These errors result in varying degrees of rotation and can be found on a wide range of Canadian coins, including those from the pivotal year 1967. Now, how do you calculate the rotation degree of your coin? To determine the rotation degree of a coin, you need to measure the extent to which the one side of the coin has rotated in relation to the other side. Now, the easiest and most tried and true method I can suggest for checking if your coins are off axis or are rotated is to put it in a coin flip, look at the one side, and then flip your coin over. And then if it is off axis, then you have yourself one of these rotated dies. Coins with a rotation degree below 15% are generally not valued much higher than their regular counterparts unless it is in a very high mint state. The coin's year of issue can also influence its desirability among collectors. Coins with more notable dates like the provincial series that we're discussing today, and also the 1999 and Millennium quarters, can have rotated dies that are notable, and those are known to be very valuable. If you do find a rotated die on, let's say, a 1980s nickel or quarter, it might not be as valuable as if it occurs on one of the coins like the ones we're discussing on this list. Now, what do you say we get into some of the details and specifications and also values for the coins that you guys are here to find out about, and those are the 1992 provincial quarters with rotated die axis. So first of all, we will discuss the 1992 New Brunswick. The specifications for the 1992 New Brunswick standard circulation strike: it is composed of 100% nickel. It has a weight of 5.05 grams, a diameter of 23.88 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.58 millimeters. The coin was designed and engraved by Dora DePadre Hunt and Augo Arand for the obverse, and Ronald Lambert and Sheldon Beveridge for the reverse of the coin. The edge is reeded, it is magnetic. The standard die axis for Canadian coins is usually in metal alignment, but there are actually two different rotated die variations for the 1992 New Brunswick. There is one with a 90-degree shift rotated die, and there is also one in coin alignment. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll give you guys the details and the low end values of all of these coins, and then I will tell you guys the values of these pieces if you were to find one and it scores in the MS range. So if you were to find a New Brunswick 1992 provincial quarter and it is in coin alignment, which means it is rotated 180 degrees, it can be worth around $50 for an AU50. Now, the New Brunswick with a 90-degree rotation is not actually listed for values on the low end, but I would estimate that you can get at least as much as the coin alignment, if not a little bit more, because it is pretty valuable in the MS region. Now, next up is the 1992 Northwest Territories. The specifications for the 1992 Provincial Northwest Territories quarter is composed of 100% nickel. It has a weight of 5.05 grams, a diameter of 23.88 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.58 millimeters. The Northwest Territories Provincial Quarter was designed by Dora DePadre Hunt and Augo Aron for the obverse, and Beth McEachin, Augo Aron, and C. Saffioti for the reverse of the coin. The edge is reeded, it is magnetic, and the standard die axis should be in metal alignment. Now, the rotation that you are looking for the Northwest Territories is a 90-degree rotation. If you can identify this, on the low end, it can be worth around $120 for an EF40 and all the way up to $122 for an AU50. Now, the last of these 1992 provincial rotated die quarters that you can look for is the Saskatchewan. The specifications for the standard issue Saskatchewan quarter is composed of 100% nickel, has a weight of 5.05 grams, a diameter of 23.88 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.58 millimeters. It was designed and engraved by Dora DePadre Hunt and Augo Aron for the obverse, and Brian E. Cobb and Terry Smith for the reverse. The reason that I wanted to give you guys the specifications on all of these quarters is because there are actually different artists that featured their designs on the reverses of these coins, and I wanted to give credit where credit is due. Now, the edge of the 1992 Saskatchewan is reeded, it is magnetic, and it has a standard die axis in metal alignment, but the orientation that you are going to be looking for to identify this holy grail piece is in coin alignment. Now, there are only 3 known examples of the Saskatchewan in coin alignment currently, but that doesn't mean that one can't still be discovered. They actually don't even list low-end values for this coin because there isn't one that is in such a low grade that it is actually worth listing on their site. But I would estimate that you could get anywhere from a couple $100 to $1,000 even for a super low grade example at the bottom of the Sheldon scale. Because there are only 3 known examples, this would be considered a holy grail piece and definitely a good one to keep your eyes out for. Now, in terms of the high-end values, the 1992 New Brunswick in coin alignment can be worth around $550 for an MS66 example, which is currently the highest graded known example. Now, the New Brunswick with a 90-degree rotation can be worth up to $228 for an MS65 example. For the Northwest Territories, you are looking for a 90-degree rotation, and it can be worth up to $348 for an MS65 example. If it did score any higher, you can be sure to see a bit of a price jump. You could easily be talking a $500 to $1,000 coin if it scored around an MS67. And last but not least, we have the holy grail of the bunch, the Saskatchewan in coin alignment. Now, there are only 3 known examples, and they only give one price estimate on coins in Canada, and that is currently $5,600 for an MS62 example. So if you were to find one of these and it scored any higher, around an MS65 to MS67, you could easily be talking a $10,000 to $20,000 coin. They put out a lot of these provincial quarters. I've encountered rolls and rolls and rolls of them in my coin roll hunt, so these are definitely some good pieces to keep your eyes out for. The reverse of the coin was designed by Walter Ott, an Austrian-trained master engraver, artist, and designer who worked at the Royal Canadian Mint in Ottawa. The design shows a constable holding a bamboo-shafted lance carried by members of the RCMP on horseback. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police's horse breeding program began in 1939. In 1973, 134,958,587 quarters were produced for circulation, and proof and specimen coins were also made. The design was changed up from a caribou to the Mountie design, and the obverse die was retooled to ensure proper metal flow. The size of Queen Elizabeth II's obverse portrait was reduced to achieve fine details on the reverse, and the ornamental beading on the obverse was also modified. Virtually all of the 1973 RCMP Centennial Canadian quarters were struck with the smaller busts on the obverse, but a small amount of the coins were produced with the obverse of 1972, creating the 2 varieties of the small and large bust. The amount of coins with the large bust does not exceed 10,000 according to the Charlton and PCGS guides and website. When the dies were retooled in 1973, it resulted in a smaller portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse of the coin, with greater refinement to her hair detail. Another way to differentiate between the large and small bust quarter is by the placement of the beads and the top of the letter A in Regina. The large bust quarter has beads that sit close to the rim, and the top of the A points directly to a bead, while the small bust quarter has beads set farther from the rim, and the top of the A points at a spot between 2 beads. The size of the bust and position of the head on the coin are extremely important details. On the large bust, the beads will appear to touch the rim of the coin, while there is space between the beads and the rim on the small bust quarter. If you're still unsure, one of the best ways is actually to compare it to a 1972 25-cent coin, which will have the large bust and bead arrangement as if it were the 1973 large bust. Now we'll get into the specifications and value of the 1973 Mountie quarters. They are composed of nickel. The monarch on the obverse of the coin is Queen Elizabeth II. It has a weight of 5.1 grams. They have a diameter of 23.8 millimeters, a thickness of 1.6 millimeters. The coin is in metal alignment, as most Canadian coins are, and the edge of the coin is reeded. Now, the Canadian 1973 Mountie quarter comes in all three of the different Canadian finishes that were offered at that time. It comes in a business strike, which will get an MS designation. It comes in a proof strike, which will get the PL designation, and also a specimen, which will get the SP. Now, depending on the finish of the coin, it will heavily affect the value. The business strike is the most valuable of the bunch, but the other ones are quite valuable as well, and it's definitely a good idea to keep your eye open, especially at flea markets and if you're buying coins in an estate sale or maybe in a lot on eBay. So in terms of value, the 1973 small bust business strike is worth around $1 for an MS60, and it can actually be worth all the way up to $61 for an MS65. Now that is for the small bust quarter. Now the 1973 large bust is worth $346 for an MS60 example, and it can be worth all the way up to $3,240 for an MS65. That is buku, insane amounts of money. Now in my coin roll hunts, I have found thousands and thousands of the 1973 Mountie quarters. I still personally have not found any of the large busts. I have known people that have found the large bust before. If you were to find one of these in a high mint state, you can make some really good money off of it. And chances are, if you do find one of these coin roll hunting, it is probably going to be the business strike. Now let's get into the proof strikes. The 1973 proof strike is only worth around $1 in a PL64. It can be worth up to $39.20 for a PL67. The 1973 large bust proof strike can be worth around $177 for a PL63 and all the way up to $677 for a PL67. So even if you were able to identify a set that contains the 1973 large bust quarter and you pay like $100 for it, if it's in decent shape, you can send it off to be graded by a company like PCGS, NGC, maybe ICCS, and make quite a return on the coin. Now, lastly, we will discuss the specimen finishes for these coins. First, the 1973 small bust. It's worth around $1.94 for a specimen 66, and it can be worth all the way up to $14.70 for a specimen 67. The 1973 large bust specimen can be worth around $173 for an SP64 and all the way up to $539 for an MS67. Now, I've actually owned 1973 specimen sets. You can usually pick them up from your local coin shops for a pretty decent price. I'm guessing that they have probably done their due diligence and checked for the large bust already. So your best chance of finding sets that may contain the large bust quarter are probably in flea markets, estate sales, or maybe in a lot on eBay or Facebook Marketplace.
Following the conclusion of World War II and the Korean War, the Royal Canadian Mint gradually returned to nickel as the primary component in the 1950s. The shift back to traditional 99.9% nickel composition allowed the Canadian Mint to return to using the round rim design in the year 1963. The advancements in metallurgic technologies allowed for the efficient use of nickel without compromising the coin's integrity, marking the end of steel-based coins for several decades. Now, the date that you are looking for this nickel is 1963, and if you want to be able to identify this error, we should briefly go over how rotated die errors can occur during coin production. Rotated die errors on Canadian coins can be attributed to misalignments or instability during the coin minting process. While it may be challenging to determine which of the two dies is responsible for the rotation, these errors occur for two major reasons: stable rotation and dynamic rotation. First, let's go over stable rotation. This type of rotation occurs when one of the two dies is misaligned during installation, leading to a stable degree of rotation for subsequent strikes. The effect of this is that multiple coins are produced with a consistent degree of rotation, and this misalignment is assumed to be the cause. The second type of rotation is dynamic rotation. Dynamic rotation occurs when one of the dies becomes loose during striking, leading it to rotate in its axis. This type can result in varying degrees of rotation. Coins struck with dynamic rotation may have different degrees of rotation depending on the instability of the rotating die during the striking process. To determine the rotation degree, one needs to measure the rotated side in relation to the other side of the coin. This measurement is crucial for evaluating the extent of the rotation. The Canadian 1963 nickel in coin alignment is an error that involves the coin being rotated 180 degrees during the minting process. In a typical minting process, coins are aligned in a specific way to ensure consistent and accurate strikes. However, in the case of the Canadian 1963 nickel struck in coin alignment, the coin was struck in such a way that the reverse and obverse side are upside down in relation to each other, very similar to American coins. The notable feature of this error is the reverse side of the coin, which features the beaver design, is rotated 180 degrees compared to the obverse side. This coin alignment error is considered a minting anomaly where the coin is improperly aligned during the striking process. Coin alignment errors, especially those involving 180 degree rotations, can generate significant interest among numismatists and collectors. The uniqueness of this error adds a distinctive characteristic to the coin. So, some of the details and specifications for the 1963 Canadian nickel in coin alignment of any of these are off and may indicate that the coin is not authentic. So first we will start off with the mintage figure for the 1963 Canadian nickel. The 1963 nickel has a mintage figure of 43,970,000, and the 1963 struck in coin alignment is included in that mintage figure. There's probably only a couple hundred examples or less that exist. Now the specifications for this coin, it is composed of 100% nickel. It has a weight of 4.54 grams, a diameter of 21.21 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. The obverse was designed and engraved by Mary Gillick, and the reverse was designed and engraved by G.E. Kruger Gray and Thomas Shingles. The edge of the coin is round. It is the first year that they returned to the round rims for Canadian nickels. It is non-magnetic, and the die axis is in coin alignment, as is the standard for American coins, but it is not intended to be in coin alignment. It is a rotated die error. Now, when it comes to determining the value for this nickel, it can be extremely tricky. It is actually listed as an error on PCGS's website, and it is also listed on the Coins in Canada website, but Coins in Canada does not give any evaluations for this coin. Now, PCGS lists a sale on eBay in 2022 where an MS65 example sold for $201, but there have actually been regular 1963s that have sold for way more than that. So I'm not too sure what is going on with that, but if you do find one in an MS65 to MS67, I don't doubt that you might be able to get anywhere from $500 to $1,000, depending on how much somebody wants to add this to their collection. It is a pretty significant error, and if it gets the attribution from PCGS, it will definitely add some interest and garner some attention as well.